There we
Perfect.
go. All right. Well, first things first. Hi, Megan. How we doing?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Just so the audience knows. Well, first things first. What is up, everybody? It's the Android Master getting connected, and welcome to this thing that Megan and I are doing. Um, Megan and I have been trying to collab and do this video for the longest. First things first, we were trying to do an intergalactic review, and then we were planning on doing a High School Musical review. I didn't do my part on that, but now we're just talking about our favorite movies of this year so far. And while we're doing that, I'm going to be playing Mortal Kombat 1 in the background because I promised that I was going to do that to somebody, but So yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go back and forth and shout out our favorite movies. I do want to get out of the way. I was planning on watching a lot of movies in 2023, except I haven't had a chance to. So certain movies that you guys are gonna be like, "Oh, where's this movie? Where's that movie?" Well, we didn't. I didn't watch it. So yeah. Do you want to start off?
Yeah, let me get my list together,
All right. Well, I'm just going
actually.
based off memory, so
Yeah. Because I know I've seen so as of last night, I've reached my 51 2023 movies. So yeah, I've
oh,
watched
wow.
53 or no, not 50. Yeah, oh wait, no, 51 2023 movies. So yeah, I've
All
watched
right. Go
yeah,
off.
so yeah, I know.
51.
51, yes.
Wow.
So I have my list down on Letterbox, and yeah, I've had a pretty decent time at the movies as of recently, but we'll get to that later. So I'm gonna go by chronological order.
Yeah,
So
I've had a pretty eventful 2023. So
yeah,
like
you have.
I've got a daughter. I've got
Yes, congrats.
an album coming out. I'm still working on my show. I'm just doing a lot of stuff. And thank you for the congratulations, by the way. Yeah.
Of course.
He's got 6 months later this week on the 19th. Not this week, but I think next week on the 19th. So
Wow, time flies.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
going in chronological order or like the time I did it. So, and this is not because of my namesake, but I really liked the movie Megan. That was the first movie I watched of
Oh,
this year. Came
kind of
out
forgot that
January
movie came
6th.
out this year.
Yes, and it's a campy good time. I wouldn't say it's like the best movie because I watched it twice, and the second time around, it wasn't as fun, but I still enjoyed the movie. It cracked me up. I was like scream laughing in the theater, and I saw it with
Oh
my
my
dad, and
goodness.
we were like scream laughing. It was so funny.
I I saw it with my girlfriend, and my girlfriend doesn't normally like horror movies like that, but like it was so funny. It was such a funny movie. Oh man, like
It was the
the,
run for me. Like when she started
it,
like running on the ground on all fours, I was like,
it
I was
was
dying.
the funny part is the cop during the aftermath of that, he was just like, "Oh yeah," it was like came clean off, and he just started laughing, and I was like, "That's not something you should laugh at."
Right?
Oh man, it's such a funny movie though, because like my props to
Movie.
the little girl who did the physical acting for Megan. Like that is
Mm-hmm.
that is some top tier work right there. And like
Yes.
the idea of like a super high tech doll coming to life and going on a murdering spree, like that is some funny stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like it does have that commentary on like kids getting these toys and like how there's like the tablet kid and the kid that grew up watching TV and the kid that
Yeah.
grew up with these crazy toys. Like, yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
just that I love that commentary on that type of movie.
Me
But
too.
when I first saw that movie, God, it was so funny
Yes. And
movie.
I
And like,
watched the theatrical version and then I watched the unrated version, but honestly, they're
ooh,
practically the same movie. It's just the unrated version just has more F bombs. So it's like,
of
okay,
course,
whatever.
of course. Speaking of Bloomhouse, FNAF. Me and my
Ah,
girlfriend, we watched that as soon as that came out. That movie is brilliant. I don't care what anybody
You
says.
liked that
I
one?
loved it. Oh my god. I didn't. Okay, so yes, you were right. I saw your review on it. You were right. The plot does kind of slow down halfway through the movie, but like if you are really well versed in the lore of FNAF, especially watching MatPat's videos and coming up with theories
Yeah.
on your phone, and like you get a real nice appreciation for like what the director and the writers of those movies kind of like came up with and all that
Hmm.
stuff. I didn't like what they did with Vanessa's character because I was like, okay, you could have easily you missed an opportunity here. You could have easily had Jesus, I'm getting my ass whooped. You could have easily had like Mike be William Afton's son or something like that. But
Hmm.
I did like the movie overall because it was like I was gonna make a review on this, but it got copyright claimed. But
Hmm.
I made a point like it's like the 96 Batman movies. Like,
Hmm.
Batman and Robin. Those movies are not good in the slightest, but they're
Yeah.
entertaining. They are very
Yeah.
entertaining. Oh my god, I'm dying. Oh no, Omni Man. No. It's okay. Anyways, so yeah, that was like that's my first movie that I was going to talk about. But yeah, that movie. If you have anything you want to say about it right now, that this is your opportunity.
I mean, I thought it was all right. Like I was like probably one of the early adopters of FNAF. It's been a while since I played. But so that's kind of like my whole critique is I wish that it had more jump scares because that was like a really
Yes.
key moment of the game.
They
And
I like how they did kind of like homage to Foxy running down the halls, but like
I liked
other
that
than
too. I was like, oh yes,
yeah, but like other than that, like the only like actual jump scares that we get with the Balloon Boy ones, where he's just in like the locker, or like he's in like he shows up in the van with Corey X Kenshin and all that stuff, and I'm like, all right, like Balloon Boy wasn't really a part of the first FNAF game, but like I see what you were doing there, but like
I
yeah,
liked that little Easter egg. I was like, oh, okay, cool. We got the balloon boy, we got all of that, and that's like a fun little jump scare. But like, I was really like expecting like
yeah,
the jump scares that we know from the game because that was iconic, and that's like what
and like
made the game awesome.
for them to put so much effort into like the design of the pizzeria, like
Yes,
you gotta put some effort in the jump scares here. I liked
exactly. And I love the style of the pizzeria too. I'm glad you mentioned that too. I didn't mention that
yeah,
in my review, but yeah, I really like the set
yeah.
design and everything.
And then here's the funny part. Somebody made the point that the animatronics are Muppets.
Yeah, okay, like that's okay. Like the animatronics looked really off to me, and I mentioned that in or did I mention that in my review? Yeah, I did, and
So
it
they
just looked
look good.
weird.
To me, they look good. It's just when they move around, that's when it kind of
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
'Cause, like,
yes, and I understand.
they could have at least kept it with like them teleporting around or like going to different camera angles and then them just showing up there. Because like, how the fuck did Bonnie's big ass get in that supply closet and shit without that dude knowing?
Exactly.
I'm like, what the fuck? But also, I do like the idea that Vanessa knows that they kill people and knows that like they do that stuff. So she just comes into the pizzeria and it's like that one TikTok meme where it's like, "What the fuck did you have in the car? Why does it smell like
Yeah.
Japanese cherry blossom in here?" Like this Vanessa comes into the pizzeria and she's like, oh, "Why is there somebody cut in half in here? Who did? Freddie, Freddie, I see you looking. What did you do? What did you do, Freddie?" Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I just that characterization. I'm like, why? But
yeah,
anyway, moving
yeah.
on to another good a good horror movie this year is Scream 6. I
Uh,
freaking
I
love
didn't
that
see it, and I
movie.
want to see it so bad. I haven't had a chance
Oh,
to.
it's good. It's
I
good.
know
It's
it's on
really good.
Paramount, isn't it?
I think yeah, it's on Paramount Plus,
I
and
gotta get
yeah, it's
my subscription back. I gotta watch that.
yeah, no, it's amazing. Um, I think they filmed it. I forgot where they filmed it. I think they filmed it in
It's in
either
and then it's in
it takes
New
place
York.
in New York. It takes place in New York, but they didn't film it in New York, so you could kind of tell if you haven't been to if you've been to New York, you could tell they didn't even film there because it's expensive to film in New York. So they usually film in places like Georgia or Toronto or something like that.
I was gonna say, don't they usually film it in like Toronto or something like that? I don't know why I was going to say Ontario, but that's not at all in Canada.
No, you're right. Toronto, Ontario. Yeah, you're right.
So, I want to watch Scream because Ghostface is one of my favorite. Crap, I didn't do the fatality. Ghostface is one of my favorite slasher villains. However, I did watch Halloween Ends. I watched that a year after it came out though, because it was on Amazon, one of those.
Yeah.
And God, Halloween Ends is such a great movie. It's campy as hell. It's ridiculous. But that's also because it's just Michael Myers.
It is Michael Myers. Like that movie was on my disappointment list of 2022. I was not feeling it.
It's a fair point because once all the hype train came out for Halloween Ends and all the crazy expectations that everybody had for that movie, like, oh, Laurie's gonna be the one that kills Michael and also dies in this movie. Like, no, Laurie just straight up kills Michael. That's it. That's all that was. I'm like, okay, I guess.
It was such a boring kill. Like, spoilers, but it was a boring kill.
It was extremely boring. She literally just, like, had him on her countertop and just was like, all right, stab, like, stab, that's it.
And then put him in, like, a freaking, what do you call it? Like a trash compactor?
Right. I'm like, why didn't you just, like, straight up, why didn't they have like a huge battle where like, it's brother versus sister? And I'm just like, you missed a major opportunity there. You could have at least had that. But anyways, moving on from Michael Myers and all that jazz, one of my favorite movies that came out this year on Netflix, Nimona.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I have not. Tell me about it.
It's a good ass movie. Oh my God. It's about this shapeshifter that's in like a futuristic, like Victorian style, like kingdom kind of sort of thing. It's like Victorian era knights and kingdom stuff, but it's also futuristic. So it's about this girl who everybody assumes is a monster because she could shapeshift, and this knight who accidentally kills a queen, and the queen is like basically a mother figure to him. And it's such a great story. I'm not going to spoil too much about it, but it's such a great story, and it represents the LGBTQ perfectly. And like Nimona is such a fun, creative, and amazing character. And I do recommend giving it a watch. It is so brilliant. It's funny too. It's such a funny like movie and all that stuff. It's so good.
I will check it out. I'll put it on my list.
Yes, definitely.
So I'll go next. So the next thing that was kind of a shocker, and I ended up liking it more than I thought I would, but the movie Air. It's about the Michael Jordan Nike contract. It is so good.
I didn't see it, but I don't care about spoilers. I do want to hear what it is, what happens.
I mean, it's not really a spoiler. It's just like it's based off of real life. But spoiler alert: Michael Jackson, not Michael Jackson.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
That's a twist. Yeah, no. But Michael Jordan ends up signing for Nike. But anyway, what it's about, it's like a corporate biopic. So it's like really centering around Nike and everything, and how Jordan initially wanted to sign with Adidas. And they were trying to convince him that, not to sign for them, because at the time Nike was just a running brand, and they were kind of going downhill. So they were kind of like, well, and this is like the first, or one of the first like athletic endorsements, and that's the first athletic endorsement that Nike did, other than Prefontaine. I forgot his first name, but he was a runner. So anyway, and this is like the first time like a brand really centered, or there was a collection centered around an athlete like that and that caliber. And they were also doing like the business negotiations, and Michael, go ahead.
Didn't Jenner do that? What's his name? Or what's her name now?
Not
Kendall, not Kendall. Caitlyn Jenner. When
Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner, when she was Bruce, didn't she have like a brand deal with? No, she didn't have a brand deal with Nike at one point. I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
Wheaties was the bigger one, and they actually mentioned that briefly in the movie because the movie it opens up with the set of the 1980s when all this was going on. So they were mentioning that and all these like athletic brand deals and stuff, and they were going through all these different athletes. And at the time, Michael Jordan wasn't the best as he's known as today. He was
Right.
really much of an underdog. So
Like
they're
he
really
just
going through
started, especially back in the 80s, he just started off with basketball too. So yeah, I totally
exactly.
get that. Well, moving on to probably one of the biggest blockbusters of the summer, Barbie.
Yeah,
Me and my
that
girl
was
we went to go
cute.
see it. Me and my girl, we went to go see it. We dressed in pink. I got pictures. I'm putting them up on there. You'll see them when the video comes out. But I'm sure you saw them on Instagram too when we went to go see it. That movie, oh my goodness, that movie was brilliant.
Brilliant movie,
Like,
yeah.
first of all, the massively stacked cast, in both Barbie and Oppenheimer. Those movies, I didn't see Oppenheimer myself. I kind of wanted to, but I'm like, I don't want to watch a movie about something that we did. Barbie, I like wanted to go to that escapism, and my girlfriend wanted to see Barbie as well. So we were like, you know what, let's go see it. So we went to go see it, and like I was not expecting this movie to be as beautiful as it was.
Yes.
And like, okay, just slight spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen. To the 5 people that haven't seen it,
Or heard of it.
or
managed to avoid spoilers. That's impressive.
Right. So what happens in the movie is Barbie goes to the real world, and Ken comes back, discovers masculinity, and goes to Barbie land and create Kendom or whatever. And all of the crazy stuff, like the role reversal that happens there, where Barbie starts off and she's like, I gotta go to this slumber party, and Ken's like, can I come? And she's like, it's just me. And then Ken does it back to Barbie, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then like all of the crazy stuff. If you notice the main daughter, I forgot her name, the daughter in the movie, her friends represent the Bratz dolls, if you notice that.
Yeah. Yes, I did notice that. That was so good.
All of the crazy Easter eggs for like all the Barbie products that have come out from Hasbro. It's Hasbro, right? Mattel.
No, it's Mattel.
Mattel. Oh my God.
Get your facts straight. It's Mattel.
Yeah, but all the products that Mattel has made and like they put in the movie, and Alan, literally Alan, being the clutch character of the entire movie. I love
I literally have a group chat that's basically like a shrine to Alan. We're like a mini cult to Alan. But like honestly, the group chat like cover photo is a picture of Michael Cera's Alan.
I love that. And that's funny because me and my girlfriend, we have a tradition. We go to Anime Milwaukee every year. And this year, the theme is Sweet 16. So for the rave, because that happens every Saturday, we go to the rave, and we're going to be dressed as Cowgirl Barbie and Cowboy Ken. That's what we're going to do.
Yes, that's so good. That's going to be amazing.
I will be sure to send pictures, darling. I will be sure to send pictures.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that's gonna be good. Yeah. So yeah, Barbie was also one of my favorites. I don't know where it's gonna rank in my end of the year review, but it is definitely one of my favorites. And I watched it. How many times did I watch? I watched it 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah.
So
that was Across the Spider-Verse. I'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later. Let's see what another movie that's one of my favorites. Oh my goodness, this movie is amazing. It's an anime. It's called Suzume. It is freaking good. It is so good. It's a beautiful film. I was the only one in the theater when I saw it because people were sleeping on it. But it is so good. It's about this girl, and she like all this like crazy natural disaster stuff is happening in her town. And she meets this guy, this mysterious cute guy, and he
Okay.
actually he's she like goes to this one like abandoned area or whatever, and then there's like a door there. She meets this guy, and he's like trying to like close all these like portals or something, from my recollection, because I only saw it once.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's trying to do something like that and close all these portals in these abandoned areas. But then he gets turned into a stool. So she's
Oh.
like trying to get him to well, change back to being human, but
Yeah.
also while doing that, trying to close all these crazy portals that's causing all these natural disasters. And it's
Oh
a
wow.
freaking good movie. It
I
is
definitely
so
gotta check
good.
that out. You said it's called Suzume?
Yes,
Okay, I'll definitely try check that out. That sounds like an awesome movie.
it's an
Uh,
amazing movie, and it gets deep, and I like practically start crying at the end. It's so good.
uh,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna extend this to shows too, because I watched a couple of great shows.
Oh yeah, why not?
Another one that I actually just recently finished, Doom Patrol.
I
That
haven't seen
is
it.
that's a great show on Max. Oh my god, the end. Oh my god, the last episode actually made me cry. I was like, no fucking way. Doom Patrol just made me cry. Are you serious? Uh, I'm not gonna spoil what happens, but I will warn you that when you go in, that last episode will make you cry. It is such a brilliant show. It is brilliant. It's one of DC's best TV series. Other than like um, Peacemaker or Harley Quinn or anything like that.
Hmm.
Doom Patrol is one of the best shows that I've ever seen in 2023 or really any other year that I've watched any show.
Hmm.
But getting back to movies, speaking of DC, and I know I'm gonna get some flack for saying this, The Flash.
Well, I just see, I
That
haven't watched the Flash show. I don't have any really opinions on it. The only time I've like watched the Flash is your movie sucks review on it.
look, all right, from everybody saying that the movie sucks, I actually really like The Flash. That movie was so good, and I'm not
People
gonna
don't like it.
I'm not going to talk about any controversies that Ezra Miller has or anything like that, may or may not have. Those are all alleged controversies, and I have no opinions on them. But Ezra Miller's acting, it's actually still seriously good. And like I enjoyed I know everybody's on the hype train for Grant Gustin and all that crazy stuff and how much Grant Gustin embodies the character of the Flash, but I also think that Ezra Miller did really well as the I just lost. Ezra Miller did really well as the Flash in the DC live action universe and all that stuff. And I know the goofy ass running. I know the wonky CGI. I know the glorified cameos of both Sasha Calle and Michael Keaton, Batman and Supergirl, respectively. First of all, Sasha Calle. That is fine woman. Oh my lord, that's a fine woman. All right, and also Michael Keaton still got it. I enjoyed that movie so much because like there were some deleted scenes, yes, of course, of Ezra Miller actually doing the physics of his super speed and all that stuff, and but there were still some awesome fight scenes with Michael Keaton's Batman and Sasha Calle again, perfect Supergirl. I don't care if she's not blonde. I don't care if her costume isn't accurate to the comics. I don't care. She was perfect as Supergirl, and especially for
Yeah,
that
I
year.
heard she gave a good performance, and I heard she was one of the standout, if not the standout.
Oh yeah, she was totally a good standout, a standout character, I should say. And then of course the ending. I don't know if you care about spoilers, do you?
I actually like watched
A
a
spoiler
what do you
review.
call it? Yeah, spoiler review of it, so I really don't care.
So at the end of it, actually one of my favorite Batman shows back up. Fucking George Clooney. George Clooney shows up at the end
Yeah, he shows
as
up at the
Batman,
end. I mean, I
and
thought that was cute.
I thought it was adorable. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? George Clooney is Batman now? What's happening?" Um,
Yeah.
I do. So the movie has like a whole plot of like, oh, it's basically just Flashpoint, where Barry Allen goes back to save his mom and, fix everything and, all of that stuff. But he ends up just destroying everything because, Flashpoint, if you know that storyline, you know how crazy terrible Flashpoint ends. So yeah, the whole thing is, there's been a theme in 2023, the multiverse, which there's more movies that I will talk about the multiverse later. But the Flash, they do a really good explanation about that, where it's not like, like you change one thing and then the future changes, but the past stays the same. No, the past changes just as much as the future changes in these movies. And like it's not really just a straight line with a forking line coming off of it. It's a bowl of spaghetti, and the crazy stuff just happens all over the world and all over the place. Like Bruce Wayne could have been born earlier than the one that's in your universe, and Superman might have died, and Wonder Woman was never born, and neither was Aquaman, and Cyborg doesn't become Cyborg, and just all of this crazy stuff that happens in these movies that everybody doesn't realize in like all these other timelines. However, it does explain constant points in time like canon events, which we'll again get to later.
Yeah,
but
might as well jump into it next.
Yeah, that too. You know what? We might as well jump into it. This is a movie for both of us. Across the Spider-Verse. Spoiler.
That was a good one.
People that haven't watched this movie. First of all, I just got to go off right quick. Across the Spider-Verse, not only visually, quality, or anything like that, isn't just an amazing movie. It's a perfect movie. It is perfect. Yeah. It is such a masterpiece because it not only builds off of Into the Spider-Verse, but it sets up Beyond the Spider-Verse wonderfully. And I'm like, this is great. And they do the constant point thing perfectly by explaining canon events. Yep. And I love how creative they do that by like having the first comic run of Spider-Man set up those plot points like, the police captain dies and Peter Parker is messed up about it, or Gwen Stacy's death, or Uncle Ben's death, and the pulling the trains together thing. They set up that with the Sam Raimi movies.
Yes.
If anybody pays attention to all three Spider-Man movies, that is a constant point, and it always happens in Spider-Man 2. Well, except the first one in the MCU, that happens in the first movie. But either way, I love the idea of canon events, and it got me thinking about certain plot points in my life where I'm like, is this a canon event? Was that a canon event? Like, I just love that. And not only that, the character designs, the character beats, and like, Miguel O'Hara's theme, Hobie's animation style. Spider-Punk is my favorite.
Yes.
Spider-Punk is
I'm attracted to a cartoon. I'm attracted to an anime character crush, Hobie.
I see so many people just being down bad as fuck for Miguel O'Hara. I swear.
Oh yeah, that's him too.
I'm trying to get me some of that Rio Morales, baby. But no, like, I hope Spider-Punk is always going to be my favorite. I do like Daniel Kaluuya's interpretation, but if there's ever hope for me being Spider-Punk, I'm going to be as comic accurate as I possibly can. Because if you realize, I read the comics, all right? Yeah. I'm a comic book. So Hobie Brown is not British, as a matter of fact. He's just an American inspired by British punk culture. Now, he may or may not do the Cockney accent. He may or may not do that. But the entire universe probably does. But I'm not going to get into the comics. I'm going to let you go ahead and explain your part because I'm talking too much. But go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. I definitely have to give it a second watch because it was a little slow to me at the end, but it might be because I watched the later showing of it. because I wasn't trying to sit in the movie theater with a bunch of kids running around because more on that later, but there's a movie that was literally ruined because of that. I
Yeah.
watched this year. So I was like, I saw it pretty late and it was really good. I enjoyed it. I loved the animation. Soundtrack, of course, is amazing. Yeah,
Yep.
Metro Boomin did his thing. And
Yeah.
like it was a really brilliant movie, and I really loved the attention to details as far as the animation style and the blending of different mediums too, because you get animation, but you also get live action, and it's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, very amazing.
I did love what they did with the live action, and a lot of the jokes in that movie. They even had the Sonyverse Spider-Man come in, the PS4 PS4 Spider-Man game come in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so shocked when that happened. I was like, what in the world? What is going on?
Right. And I love the Donald Glover cameo too. That was one of my favorites.
1999 Prowler was just in the wrong universe and he just got kidnapped by the Spider Society. And I'm just like, what the hell is this movie? It's so good.
It's really good.
I wouldn't say the soundtrack topped Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
but
no, it didn't.
It did really well to match the energy of it. And and like it was just a brilliant movie altogether. So yeah, that's just Speaking of Spider-Man, I don't know if this came out in 2023, but Spider-Man No Way Home. That was a brilliant movie.
That did not, but
did it come out? It came out. No,
it came out last year.
More Fun Stuff came out in July of 2023. The extended version. That's the reason why. That's the reason why I constantly get mixed up, because it came out in 2023, the extended cut, and I gotta say, the extended cut is so much better. It's so much better because you get more of the boys talking. You get more. You get some more, and even with simple lines from Andrew Garfield, you get more story because he is such a I gotta say. And I
gotta look up when that movie came out, like because I feel like
the original came out, I think, December of 2022. But
because I was like, for some reason I didn't put it on my list, but like because I did like the end of the year review of all my favorites, but I'm like, I watched it, but did I forget about it? Because there was a couple films in there that I forgot to like review.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple of films in this that we're gonna forget to talk about. That with just a couple of lines, I know I'm not making any new ground by saying this, but Andrew Garfield slept on Spider-Man. Such a slept on Spider-Man. And it's because he's so uncannily perfect to how he acted in the comics. And like, I'm not shitting on Tobey Maguire or Tom Holland. All three of them are extremely accurate to the comics Peter Parker. Except Andrew Garfield does it to such an extent that it's just it's something else. And I will say Andrew Garfield's a little too hot to be playing Peter Parker, but you can say that about either of them. You can say that about really either of the Peter Parkers. But he was really good. He was jokey as Spider-Man, and he was kind of sarcastically angry as Peter Parker, but like, I just love his interpretation of it. And, of course, for him to get his redemption arc with saving MJ from falling out of the skyscraper and being able to be the middle sibling of all three Spider-Men and, all of that stuff. And, of course, I want to see The Amazing Spider-Man 3. I need to see that movie because that would just it'd be a perfect tie-off,
That'd be a good one.
Perfectly ending his trilogy and all that.
That'd be good. Oh, yeah, and to answer our question, it came out in 2021. So there we go. So that makes sense why I omitted it from my list. I was like, I watched that movie. But
I know.
Going back to my list, there's this really good historical film called Chevalier. And it is about a biracial Chevalier. So what Chevalier means, it's basically knighthood in France. And he was a violinist, and also he was a fencer. And again, biracial. And this was in the 1700s.
Oh my
Yes.
god, that movie! I've been wanting to watch that movie forever. Ah,
So freaking
I
good.
forgot
I
that
know
came
it's
out
on
this
streaming.
year.
I forgot where it's on, but I watched it in theaters and it was amazing. It was so good.
I
So
kept
definitely check
seeing it
that
in
out.
theaters. I kept seeing it show up in theaters. I never had a chance to watch it yet, and I just love that. That I saw the trailer and I was like, God, that looks so good.
Oh, it's good. It's really good. So yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite films. They did take some subtle artistic liberties because movie's gonna movie, but
Of
it was
course,
really good. The
yeah,
ending is so badass, even though
of
that should never
course.
happen in real life. But the ending is so badass.
um, a movie that
Literally.
kind of reminded me that I do enjoy that came out this year, Avatar: The Way of Water.
That came out last year, but yes, that was really good.
I was like sitting here like I saw it during winter, and I think I'm just getting my months mixed up because I thought it came out in January, but it came out December. And so did Black
Yeah,
Panther. That came out last year too. Black Panther 2.
came out in November.
Those two movies are movies that were made by Disney featuring blue people in water that made me cry. So, but a movie that did come out this year that's also a Disney movie featuring water, Elemental.
Yeah, I watched that last night actually, and it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it's
was
not my favorite, but I thought it was a really cute movie, and I wish the marketing was better. Like, that's my
yes.
only thing. The marketing, like, it's so disappointing because I actually watched after I watched the movie, I watched like the documentary about the movie, and it's um. I'm telling you, they're doing this director dirty because it's the same director that did like what was it like the Friendly Dinosaur or something like that. It was like
Oh
another
yeah,
obscure
a good
Pix.
dinosaur.
Yeah, they did like this other like obscure Pixar movie that like never got advertised. I'm like, yeah, like he needs to
Wasn't it like
like
Newt
change
or
his
something like
contract.
that?
What was that?
Wasn't that movie like Newt or something like that? I can't remember.
No, I don't know what it's called, but it was like something about a dinosaur. Let me
Yeah.
just look up Pixar dinosaur movie.
And while you're doing that, I will give my opinion on it.
The good dinosaur.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so yeah, he did the good dinosaur, and he did a bunch of voice acting work too. Yeah, Peter Schoen. So
Mm,
this movie is like loosely semi-autobiographical because he came from an immigrant family that
yeah,
owned a shop and all that stuff. And I wish the trailer showed that more because it just looks like another Zootopia, but except with elements. And yeah,
yeah.
there is like some Zootopia type of thing, but it goes so much deeper than that. And
Yes,
talking about
yeah.
tradition and family and all
You
the
do make a
xenophobia that
fantastic point.
yeah, and it just goes through a lot of these things, and it's a really beautiful film. It's just like the main, well, I guess like okay, so the film has two conflicts, and I
Mm-hmm.
think the second conflict doesn't really, it just is all over the place, and it doesn't really
Yeah,
like amount to
it
anything. But the
it
main
wants to
conflict is really
be
good.
it wants to be a story about somebody that has a dream and that wants to pursue it but doesn't want to disappoint their family. And then it also
Hmm.
has a Romeo and Juliet type story where it's like,
Yes,
oh,
yeah.
these two families are these two races are conflicting, and the two younger generations fall in love, and they're just like, well, maybe we can make this work. And it was a good movie. It did have moments that I absolutely loved that I was almost choked up about because I was like, "It's love, and I love love."
Yeah.
But it's something about that movie that's just like, you know, I wish it would have did more with this story, and I wish they would have
Yes.
went further with it, and I wish like they missed a couple of opportunities. They could have made. I don't know. They might make a sequel because they're coming out with a Inside Out 2, so I know they're going to come out with
Hmm.
this movie.
Well, this movie flopped, so they might not.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any opinions on that type of stuff. I wish they'll make a sequel because I want to see the story just progress a little bit further. That's all. That's all I want to see.
Wish too. I agree. Like, and then also too, there is like a plot line. Like, thank you for mentioning about like the whole thing about her not really wanting to go with the tradition. It doesn't really push that narrative forward. that much, which was like huge narrative for the director. So, which I understand he doesn't want to take like too much from his real life, but I'm like, that's an interesting story, even though it's kind of done a lot with Disney movies. But then there's also another thing about, oh, we have to protect the water, or not the water, the fire nation or whatever, because of the dam. And it's just like, dude, like,
you just kind of like yada yada that, and I'm like, what do you expect
like,
us to do?
That's a big part, but it's also at the same time, it like, even though those are like high stakes, I'm just like, why is this even a plot point? Like, right. but anyway, it was better than I thought it was going to be, and that's the moral of the story. But going back to my favorites, okay, let's okay, kind of brief tangent. I'll talk before I forget. I think this is like one of my like guilty pleasure favorite movies, and this kind of goes about like going on kids movies. A Little Mermaid. I enjoyed that movie. Yeah. It was cute.
It was adorable. Perfect. It was uncanny as hell, but it was adorable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the animation was like, okay, the animation was better than I thought it was going to be, but it was still rough. It still crap.
Yeah, it was a little rough. I will say, because I have a soft spot in it, because Daveed Diggs will always have a special place in my heart. But like, you know, I love Halle Bailey. I love her so much. She's adorable.
Me too.
She was great in this role. She was so perfect.
And she was amazing. Yes.
I hate all of the hate that she got leading up to this role and all that stuff.
It is so sad. It's so sad because this is a lot of people's introductions to Halle Bailey, because she's like, I've been a fan of Halle Bailey for like ever since like 2019, 2020. So this is like a people's like first introduction to her, and I was really excited when she got cast. So she got cast in 2019. So yeah, a little bit before, like, yeah, I'll say the beginning of 2019. So a lot of people are like knowing her as like the girl who blackwashed Ariel. It's like, no, she's like really talented. She can sing. Like,
blackwashing is a thing. I don't know why people keep thinking that. It's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
But yeah, no, I love all of the. So I'm the type of person that looks for the helpers in the destruction. You know, if that makes any question or makes any sense. But I like all the fan art of, you know, both Ariels being friends and all that stuff.
Me too.
It's so damn cute. It is so damn cute, and you know, I love all of that, and I did enjoy the movie. Of course, I did make a few jokes whenever I was watching these movies, like where she actually gets her voice back. Me and my girlfriend, we'd always be like, "Ah." It'd be so funny if she just choked on her voice. What was her name? Who played Ursula?
Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy, such a perfect Ursula. I'm like, Jesus, she was so good in that. She was so good.
She did her best.
and again with the like what I said with Across the Spider-Verse's music, they're not trying to upshadow the original actors or anything like that. As a matter of fact, the original voice actress for Ariel basically passed the baton to her in the movie.
In the movie with the fork, yeah. The jingle hopper.
Like, they're not trying to surpass these the original actors. As a matter of fact, they're just trying to, you know, do a performance because they love the original movie and they want to, you know, introduce it to a new generation of kids. So that's the whole reason why I love it. Now,
the reason why go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah,
so the reason why I loved it is because of the parts on the land. Like when I was a kid, that part kind of bored me a little bit, but now it's like the opposite. Like the land parts are literally the best parts of the movie. Like the under the sea stuff, they look dull. I'm sorry. Like no hate to the animators and everything, but everything looks dull and not everything can translate well to live action. With that being said, like the live action parts, the parts where they're like away from the sea, really good, brilliant. Other than the part where like the mermaids show up and stuff,
Yeah.
they look beautiful. And then the end of the movie, okay, spoilers, but it was kind of like in the movie anyway. But when the mermaids kind of rise up and everything, I'm like, everyone is so
Spoilers for like a
gorgeous. Like, what the
20-year-old
heck?
movie or so. Yeah.
Yeah, like seriously, the movie's like over 30 years old. Like, come on. But like as far
Yeah,
as
but I
but
another
still.
movie, another show that I absolutely enjoyed. I don't know if you've seen it, Gen V.
I have not, but I heard a lot of great things about it.
Oh my lord, that show is brilliant. It's such a good show.
Hmm.
You know, and like, of course, if you ever seen The Boys and if you ever seen anything like that or read the comics, which the show is better than the comics, everybody says that, but um it's not even just the social commentary on, all the crazy stuff that we see nowadays or anything like that. It's just expanding the universe of The Boys. And
Hmm.
yes, of course, there's a lot of crazy shit that happens in those movies, or not movies, in the show, and like all of that stuff. But like the story of everything that happens there, and the use of the powers, and the reveals of certain characters and certain motivations and certain things that happen in those shows is it's just like I was shocked mostly throughout the
Hmm.
entire series. Like, some of the reveals that shocked me, and like all of that stuff. Eric Kripke does not disappoint. He does not disappoint. That man is a genius. And, I will constantly say that about, The Boys and Gen V, and like, just all the cameos and crazy stuff that happens in these shows is just great. Um and that's the same. I'll say the same thing about Invincible. And I know I'm playing an Omni Man in this game right now. I will say the same thing about season 2 of Invincible. From the two
I heard that was
episodes
good
that
too.
I've
I
watched,
still need to watch it. I still need to watch it. I just started The Boys recently too, so
yeah,
no spoiler for that. But I've heard it's really good. I'll probably binge watch it right after this, but who knows?
yeah. Well, how far are you in the boys right now?
I'm still on season one, so
Oh, you are in for a wild ass ride, like
I
a
know, I
wild
know.
ass ride. Uh,
Hmm.
I will say there are certain characters that you will love for the wrong reasons. Homelander being the main
Yeah,
one.
I know. I already know because people are like simping over him, but I'm like, you know
I'm
what? I'm
not
already
picking over
prepared
that
for
psychopath. Are you kidding me?
it.
I will simp over Starlight all day. I don't care. Uh, but yeah, yeah, your turn because I mentioned the boys and Invincible.
Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. After I skipped through all of these duds, because there was a lot of duds I watched like almost like constantly, or things that were like really good. Or the Blackening. The Blackening was
Ooh.
so funny.
Oh my god, I forgot about that movie. I didn't even see it.
It's so
Ah,
good. So it reminds me of like the early 2000s horror comedies. And that's
yeah,
actually kind of a running theme where you can see like a lot of my list, especially towards the end of it,
yep.
because I think we're missing just really fun parody, satire type
We're
of
just in
movies.
desperate need of nostalgia right now. That's what we're
We
in need of.
are, but not like a nostalgia that's like an explicit reboot. That's what these
Right,
studios are kind of like messing with. We want the same vibe as we got, but we don't want like a reboot or a remake of it. Unless
right,
if
right.
it's warranted for a sequel. That's what we are looking for.
So the
So
whole reason about my point about the nostalgia, right? We need
mhm.
stuff like what happened in No Way Home and for the most part, The Flash. But we need certain things like that where like you bring back a certain character that people have played, or at least expand upon it and do it in a way that doesn't steal from the spotlight, but also pays homage to certain things like that. And
Yeah,
that's the whole reason why
exactly.
we need nostalgia like that. I love that.
But the Blackening was really funny. I'm glad it knew its target demographic, which are Black people. I loved that because there's a lot of things that would go over white audiences' head, and that have because a lot of people were kind of pressed by the name. And I'm just like, it's okay. You can watch this movie as a white person. Are you going to get everything of it? No, you're not. But it's okay. It's not for you. It's fine. So sit down. Like
Are
respectfully,
you gonna
sit
relate
down.
to most of the stuff in this movie? No. But you'll like it. I
You'll
know
like
you
it.
will.
Yeah, like it's funny. It's like, the movie feels like a big inside joke, and I think it's really nice that it is a big inside joke. Um, like, um, it like it's definitely one of those movies where you want to talk to the screen and not like in a frustrating way, but it's like, oh, this is funny because like there's just one. I mean, the whole premise is like surrounding like a board game to like see who's like black enough or whatever, and it's
Yep.
like. It's so funny. Like there's literally a sequence where they answer all these questions I felt myself answering to
Speaking of a board game, one of my favorite movies that came out also on Netflix, The Glass Onion.
the good. That was a 2022 film, so sorry, but it's good.
Why do I keep doing that? Look at this one came out this year.
See, you need to make a list.
I do. I will make a list next time. As a matter of fact, once December comes around, I'll make a list.
But yes, The Glass Onion was really good. I didn't really do like a proper review, but I really loved it. It was amazing, and it actually is one of my favorite movies of 2022. You won't be able to see me saying that in my review because I totally like forgot and I ran out of time. But
Yeah.
that one was amazing. I liked it. Yeah, brilliant. But yeah, going back to go ahead.
I know a show that did definitely come out in 2023, and this was my least favorite show, Velma.
Oh, it's shit.
Oh boy, that was a weird ass show. Oh boy.
Terrible. It's so terrible.
Okay.
There was actually go ahead.
Yeah, so let's just crack right down on into it. Oh God. First things first, they were trying as hard as they can. They didn't know at all who their target demographic was. They were like, yeah, kids aren't gonna know what Scooby-Doo is, but also the adults will, but also the adults aren't gonna like this comedy. Kids will. And I'm just like, what is happening here?
But it's too mature for kids.
So confused on what you want this movie to be. They were trying to go off of the James Gunn original Scooby-Doo, how he had like the director's cut where it was like, Velma and Daphne were dating and Shaggy was a stoner and all of that stuff. Except you don't make Shaggy a stoner, you make him a snack review person.
Yeah.
And then you make these snacks, you make their catchphrases into drugs, and then you make Shaggy a simp for Velma, and then you completely trash the idea for a Daphne-Velma relationship and make Velma fall for Shaggy, and then Fred is just a straight up like whack. He's just whack. I'm sorry.
Like everyone is an asshole in this, and it sucks. It's so,
Literally.
but it's not in a charming way. Like that's the thing, because you could make, again, like an example of the boy. You could make them charming, but when
they're all assholes.
everyone's an asshole, and that's the disappointing thing about Velma. And honestly, the bar was set in hell, and it stayed there.
Oh yeah,
it was so bad. But going back to like good stuff, let me flip around because I have my list. Infinity Pool. That's a good horror movie.
Shit. I forgot that came out.
Yes, it came out earlier this year and like dropped on Hulu a couple months after, and it is amazing. I think that is still my favorite horror film of the year so far, and I think it's probably going to top my list. This is good. Mia Goth, like so far in the horror realm, she could do no wrong. Like she is absolutely amazing, and she's amazing in this role. She's creepy. She is crazy. Like she legit is like a predator. Like, well, both her and her husband in the film are like crazy, but it's really good. And actually, let me get a little bit of the premise for people that don't know, so it's interesting. So it happened. Yeah, so it is so it takes place in a foreign land that is not a real country, but it's
Mhm.
on this like retreat for rich people. So there's this couple, and the guy is I think it's Alexander Skarsgård. Yeah, I believe it is. It's the one of the Skarsgård brothers.
Yeah.
And he is the husband, well, he's a writer, and he's a husband of this like really wealthy woman who owns this publishing company, or no, her family owns a publishing company. So he's feeling kind of insecure because he basically married into wealth and all this stuff. And then he meets Mia Goth's character, who's like, "Oh, I'm a fan of your work," and all this stuff. And she's like talking him up, and she's like, "Hey, me and my husband are gonna go out of the island and do all this stuff. Do you guys want to
Yeah.
come with us?" So anyway, they hang out for a couple days and they get drunk on this beach. And then on their way back, they end up hitting a man and he ends up dying. And they trying to, so they all get arrested, and they say in this country we do honor killing. So, but there's an option for tourists that get in trouble in any way because it's a really strict country. So what you can do is you can make a clone from yourself. You just have to pay this amount of money. So they make this clone and they do like a fake honor killing and they kill the clone. And what Mia Goth does and her family and stuff. I mean, this is spoilers, but this is interesting. So
Oh, okay.
Mia Goth and her crew, what they do is they just keep doing all of this like illegal stuff, but they keep making clones out of themselves. Yeah,
That's that's funny.
it's funny, but it's so freaking good.
That is so funny. I need to see that. Oh my god. It just that is the most oh my god. Oh man. Speaking okay, so you keep bringing up your favorite movies. One of my favorite movies of this year was Guardians 3.
That was really good too. That was really
God, that's
good.
such a brilliant that's such a perfect send off
Oh
to most of the
yes.
Guardians. Spoilers, of course, to anybody who hasn't seen the movie. But that's because James Gunn is leaving Marvel and going to DC. Thanks, James Gunn. Now we won't get any amazing Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy movies anymore. But oh man, I gotta say that was by far probably my favorite movie of this year because it had such a wonderfully awesome story. Like all three Guardians movies, they were all Rocket's story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the build up to his story with the send off at the end was just like perfect. And I know they didn't introduce the characters in Rocket's story in the earlier movies, but it doesn't matter because the way they did it, they just kind of like had it for the majority of the movie. And that's how they would do
Mm-hmm.
it in the comics, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't just have it like build up in this comic, have this panel show that there's this part or something like that. They would do it in the comic and have that entire story be about that comic or that comic
Mm-hmm.
be about that story. And I love that it was just kind of a perfect balance of the entirety of Rocket's story while also the Guardians being completely focused on helping Rocket. And
Yes.
I just love that. And I had one of the best fight scenes in the entire
It did. It did. Yes,
that
that was so good.
entire that entire wonder was just brilliant. I was like, no, I was literally in the theater on the edge of my seat, smiling, just like cheesing. I was like, this is so cool. Because it showed off an element of each guardian, even if they're not on the team or if they're just there or if they showed up on the team later. Like it showed off each guardian perfectly. And I'm like, damn. And then, the way they kind of end Gamora's story and the way they end Peter's story and, the new guardians and just all of that stuff. Like that was my I'm not even going to say probably my favorite. That was my favorite movie of 2023. Guardians 3.
it's a great one. It's brilliant. It's so good. Um, and then for my list, this was actually a very cool corporate biopic. And I think it's actually like other corporate biopics need to take notes because yep, because everything else, all the other ones are kind of like it seems like okay, they're clearly selling some type of product. But this
Yeah.
one is cool because this product does not exist. Blackberry. That was a good freaking movie. So they did a movie based on Blackberry. Yes, they did.
I didn't even know.
It is so interesting. So it's kind of a slower paced film, but it's so cool because it's filmed like a documentary. It's amazing.
Oh man,
Brilliant.
that's
It is funny and it is very it's in a way too because you know it's about Blackberry not being able to keep up with the times. Well, first being ahead and you know and then going downhill from that. So it's a very interesting one. The other one that's pretty good too is the pinball one, which is pretty interesting. But I think Blackberry is really cool.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, they made a pinball corporate biopic too.
oh, wow. Well, so from one MCU movie to another, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Oh,
I
interesting. I wasn't interested in watching it, so
I watched
go off of
it
your review.
I watched it only because Jonathan Majors. That's the only reason why I watched it. And you know, despite the alleged controversy that he went through, which he was innocent, by the way, everybody knows that. Um, Jonathan Majors is such an amazing actor, and like in another show that I will talk about in a second, you know, Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. That is the most genius move the MCU has ever pulled, and you know, like you know, even just as one character or multiple characters, his range of acting is nuts. Like it is insane how far he has range in acting and all that stuff. And you know, I one day just honestly hope that I'm in a movie with Jonathan Majors one day because I'm just like this man. This man can do no wrong with acting. Oh my goodness! Next to Matthew Lillard, but that's another story.
Yes.
And you know, again with the MCU, Loki season 2. I don't know if you've watched that entire season yet.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of great things about it. So I it's on my list. It's on my list. A lot of people keep spamming me about Loki memes, and I'm like, I haven't seen it. Why y'all sending me memes? Like, why do you think that?
Once you watch it, send me what you think about it when in our chat and all that stuff, because I need to know your opinion.
For sure, I still have to watch season 1.
Yeah, it's a short watch though, because it's like 6 episodes each. I think I know it might be 8 episodes in season 1, but there's 6 episodes in this season. So yeah, it's Doom Patrol, it's Loki, The Boys, Gen V, and Invincible. Those are the 5 shows that you have to watch.
Oh gosh, I have my work cut out for me, but okay, we'll see how it goes.
Definitely.
Okay. Oh, I want to go over to my next movie.
Go ahead.
Because I did talk about cloning, and this is another theme I've noticed within 2023 is clones. Because another favorite movie of mine is they clone Tyrone. That's a good Netflix movie.
But I've heard so many great things about it.
It is so good, and it's funny, and it gives off the vibe of kind of like the direct. Well, actually, I'll kind of go off to one of my favorite TV shows. It gives off the vibe of Boots Riley, who did Sorry to Bother You. It kind of gives off that vibe too. Kind of very like blaxploitation type of film.
Yep.
But it's like it has a really deep message and all that stuff, and the formatting of the film is so good. Like again, I'm not gonna spoil it because it's worth watching.
And it's funny you bring up Sorry to Bother You, because I have another show that the director of that made.
That's what I'm getting to. That segue.
I'm a Virgo. I'm a Virgo.
Love that show.
That show is so goddamn good. I'm like,
so good.
I was going into it not expecting a thing, and then I heard Double Toasted talk about it. I know you watched Double Toasted. I saw it on your story.
Yeah.
I heard Double Toasted talk about it, and I was like, really? Is it that good of a show? So I decided, because I already had Amazon, I was like, I'll just watch it on a whim. I watched it in the span of one morning. the entire show in the span of one morning. And I was like, because I couldn't stop watching. I was like, this is such a good show. Why is this show so good? So yeah, no, I'm a Virgo is just a brilliant show. And if anybody who hasn't watched it watches it, we both recommend it. Like I don't know, I'm speaking for you. We both recommend that you watch this show.
Recommend it.
It's so good.
Recommend it. It's so good.
Yes.
And that's like, I think probably it's my favorite show of the year so far. Let me kind of get, I don't know, I might be paused, so no, I'm not gonna do that. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
never mind.
It was to me, it's I gotta say it's I'm a Virgo, Gen V, and Loki. Those are my top 3 shows that I've watched that I absolutely fell head over heels for because those shows were so brilliant. And you know, from what's his name? You said his name earlier, the director of that show?
Bruce Riley. Bruce Riley.
From his like kind of weird artistic eye, you know, like that show is just so good. And like, yes, some plot points may, you know, be interesting and weird, and you know, not a lot of people can relate to them because you know they're palm skinned. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's still a relatable show. It's not just like relatable towards black people or white people or you know anybody else. It's just a relatable show because it does have certain social commentaries like, oh, like you need to set up an appointment to go to the doctor even if you have an emergency, or like, you know,
it's very much anti-capitalist, but if you've seen his work, you know he's anti-capitalist.
Yeah,
even
and then
though
like,
he's
of course,
making
with the blind eye of justice and like, you know, how certain people that are in high authority think they're doing the right thing, but really it sometimes takes a villain to do the right thing, you know? And that was the whole point of him becoming Thug 1 or whatever. And I'm like, this is such a like this message is so interesting and I love it. But yeah, that's just me gushing over I'm a Virgo.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, another movie that I actually really liked too was which was recommended by my followers, Polite Society. That's a really good movie. Yeah, so
Oh, wow.
So it's about this Pakistani girl and her sister, and it's about their sisterhood. But the Pakistani girl, she wants to become a stunt woman. And of course, like her parents and everything, they're pretty strict and all this stuff. And they're like, no, I don't want you to become a stunt woman. And her sister is an art school dropout, her older sister. So she's living at home all depressed. And then her family is like, hey, we're going to take you to this party to meet this guy. And they end up getting engaged, the older sister and stuff. And then the younger sister who wants to be a stepwoman, she's like, wait, something is not right. And then she finds out this thing. So she's basically trying to break up their engagement and kind of trying to figure everything out. And it's an action movie. It's an action comedy. And it's so good. I
definitely got to see that. A movie that I actually recently just watched. I know it came out in 2023. I know. But Renfield.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it was a fun one.
That was a fun movie. Because once Nicolas Cage gets into everything, it just starts to
stand out. He's a standout.
He's a standout. That's the whole point. The whole thing about Nicolas Cage being a standout, like that's the whole thing. Because he overacts, of course, but like he's a good overactor. That's the best part about Nicolas Cage.
Overactor, exactly. Like. And he's perfect because he's playing Dracula.
Yes, if you're playing Dracula, one of the most ridiculous characters ever. If you're playing Dracula,
like, he's a toxic boss Dracula, and that is so good.
And then, like, they're talking about, you know, he's going to a group circle, talking about how he's in a toxic relationship.
But it's so good. It actually like that movie is very cathartic, I would have to say. I think my whole thing is I'm not a biggest fan of Awkwafina as an actress. So
it's funny because how she was being like a serious actress in this, and I'm like, what in the world is Awkwafina doing in this movie?
But here's the thing, I could respect I could respect Aquafina when she does like more serious roles because she was in this movie a couple years ago called The Farewell, which was so
Mhm.
brilliant. She's great in that. And she's great in like truly dramatic roles. But
Yeah,
when she's kind of like
doing her
one of
comedic
the
thing,
lead,
it's just like,
I don't know. It's just like I don't know. I'm not the
I loved
biggest
her
fan
in
of hers.
Shang-Chi. Did Shang-Chi come out this year? I think.
No, no. It came out last year.
Well, I loved her in that one.
Oh no,
Uh,
wait, no. It came out the year before last. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. I'm literally stuck on Phase 4 right now, and I'm like, all of these movies are in this year, and I will not. It's all different. No, but I did enjoy her in that one. What movie was I just about to bring up? I don't remember. I don't remember what movie I was just about to bring up. Um, but yeah, no, there's just all these movies are just insane and incredible. I can't
hmm
wait for future movies either. I really can't. I
Oh
really can't
yeah,
wait
there's
for
like
future movies.
there's so many movies that are gonna come out in December and also next year that I'm like so hyped about. And
Are you gonna see Thanksgiving?
oh wait there. I've never heard of that. What?
That literally just dropped the trailer like 2 weeks ago. And
Oh,
it
I have
looks
not.
so
I haven't even seen the
bad.
trailer. I haven't even seen the trailer. So yeah, I'll have to look it up and then I'll get back to you.
I
But
I'm going to see the Marvels tomorrow.
oh,
So
that's a good one. That's a good one. I won't say it's my favorite, but it's a cute one. It's a cute movie.
that will come out on this in December. That'll come out of my movie reviews on in December. Um, but yeah, nah, like a lot of these movies are just brilliant, and of course, I can't wait for the sequels. Do you have any other movies that you want to talk about right now?
Yes, I do. I'll do a quick little wrap up of like some of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
So I really okay. So there's always like a gay rom com that I really like, and it's corny, but Red,
there was a
White, and
couple of them that
Royal
came
Blue.
out. Royal Blue.
Red, White, and Royal Blue. It looks like a
Uh,
CW movie except of like a gay romance with gay sex
yeah,
included, and it's really funny.
wasn't there one that came out with the guy who played Sheldon? I keep forgetting his name. Didn't there wasn't there a gay movie that came out with that one?
No.
I remember there being a gay. It was a couple of gay rom coms that came out this year. I can't remember them.
Oh, there's
Um,
another one that I really liked, which was Bottoms. And it's not really
oh,
much of a rom com, but that
I
was a
saw
funny
that.
movie. And going back to like the early 2000s feel of a movie, that
Yep.
one's definitely that. And you know how the movie is filmed? Like you're not really sure about the time until, some more technology comes out because I watched it with my best friend and she was like, I think it's supposed to take place in 2000s or the 90s, but I'm like, no, but they're making modern references. Like
Yeah, that's always
it's
the
like
weird
they're
part
yeah,
because
but here's
I
the
didn't
thing
think
though, but they have like one character has a flip phone.
that was the same thing with FNAF because
Yeah.
literally nobody knew if that movie was going to take place nowadays, but then it turns out that it took place like in April of 2000, and I'm like, what? What in the world? What do you mean it takes place in 2000? But yeah, no, yeah. I was gonna start talking about games, but we're talking about movies. I was gonna say like Spider-Man 2 and Mortal Kombat 1 have great stories too, and I listened to those. So just saying.
Bottoms is a really fun movie. It's definitely like one of my favorites of this year. I highly recommend it. It's like it goes back to like the raunchy early 2000s movies, except it modernizes it very well, but it doesn't do it in a way that's like kind of like what movies are doing is trying to like kind of talk down or call out like the problematic of that era for comedy. Like there's some things that yeah, it does talk about that or make reference, but it does it so well and the writing is so good. Rachel Sennett and Iowa Debris, they are so freaking good in this movie. And yeah, like honestly, the a great ensemble cast. And actually the one of the actors, I forgot his name, but he's also in Red, White, and Royal Blue in this movie too. And he's
Oh,
funny. He's so funny in this movie. Yeah, he's having quite a year. And then yeah, kind of rapid fire of a lot of these different movies. Killers of Flower Moon. That one's a really good movie. Martin Scorsese's film this year.
oh yeah.
I it is really good. It is really sad. It's a long movie, but I don't really feel the runtime when I was watching it.
Hmm.
Um, I could say it's a perfect movie because it does get into like, well, in my at least my take of it, because I don't really like films about racial trauma, and this film does show a lot of racial trauma. So
Yep.
I so I wouldn't say it's damn near perfect, even though I gave it like a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. But I'm like, okay, if I was giving out a 10 score, I would give it a 9 out of 10 just because of that. You know, it doesn't
Yeah,
really
but
fit right with
sometimes
me.
the rating systems just don't give you enough numbers.
Yeah. But it is a good movie, really good production, and yeah, it's a very telling story, and I'm glad they're talking about that because actually, like what happened in the movie, it's about murders of the Osage tribe, and
Mm.
this happened in the 1920s, and actually that happened at the same time as the Tulsa massacre. So they actually reference and parallel the two together. They don't focus on the Tulsa massacre, and I'm kind of glad that they didn't, because again, it's one movie, and that should have its own
Yeah,
movie
we don't
itself.
need.
Will I watch it necessarily? No, because I don't like race trauma films. But
Yep, I don't like race trauma films either. That's why I didn't watch Queen and Slim. You
oh my gosh,
remember Queen and Slim?
I wish I did not watch that movie. It
That movie is such a bummer. I used to work at a movie theater when that was out. So and every time, I would deliver their food, I'd see all these black couples that think this is just a Bonnie and Clyde movie. No, it's just a racial trauma film.
trauma film, and and I honestly, going back to like, I really understand how like some people are like, yeah, no, this one's not for me, and I'm not gonna get like. There's a lot of people gaslighting like native actors, saying like, hey, they didn't really like it. It's just like, dude, no, like people could say, no, I don't like it because it just brings back trauma. Like,
Yeah,
no,
we also need more Native American actors to go into the scene, and like I'm starting to celebrate my heritage more because I've not recently, but back when I was in fourth grade, we did a project about our ethnicity, and I found out that I was Cherokee and Sioux on my great grandmother's side. So, I'm trying to find out more about my ethnicity so I can celebrate it more and teach my daughter about her heritage and all that stuff. So, not even
exactly.
just the Native American side, but also the black side and all of that stuff. So,
Most definitely. And like I actually have some heritage myself. So but yeah, on my maternal side too. Yeah, Cherokee and Choctaw, and actually yeah, by way of Arkansas. So yeah, and also probably even probably also Oklahoma too, because there's Oklahoma Cherokees as well. So
yeah, my
yeah.
family's from Mississippi. That's kind of where they resided a little bit,
Hmm.
to my
Hmm.
knowledge. That's where I
Yeah.
heard that's where they resided. Yeah. Wait. Did Wendell and Wild come out in 2023?
Last year.
Last year. Holy goddamn time! That was a good movie either way.
Good movie.
Oh man.
Another movie. Oh yeah, another one that kind of brings up the early 2000s feel. No Hard Feelings. I really like that
Oh,
movie. It's a Jennifer
that
Lawrence
movie.
rom-com. That movie is probably,
Isn't that with Jennifer Lawrence? Oh man,
and
every one
that's
of me
like the
likes that
closest
movie.
of like 2000s rom-com feel that you could get in 2023 without it being like, the premise is kind of creepy, but
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
interesting, because
I was
she,
like,
well,
I was trying to come around to watching it just out of curiosity, but I never had a chance to.
it's
Yeah,
on Netflix now. But yeah,
yeah.
it's a cute.
I've been watching a lot of DC animated films too. So like the Legion of Superheroes with Supergirl. I love that they introduced Supergirl and also the Legion of Superheroes and like had that crazy story. And then Justice League, I think it was Worldwide or Westworld or something like that, where Wonder Woman was a cowgirl, Batman was a caveman, and Superman was a detective,
Mhm.
and they were doing all that stuff and trying to figure out like what's going on and why can't we remember who we are, and all of that
Mhm.
stuff. But, like, I love those types of movies and stuff like that, especially when again the multiverse comes into question.
Yeah.
And of course I want to make a movie about the multiverse, and I know this movie came out in 2022, but Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Yes.
quite possibly the best movie to ever come out of that year.
Oh yeah, it was the best multiverse movie, and that's actually what
Yeah.
I was thinking about it too, like how they picture the multiverse and kind of talk about how even the small decisions you make in your life could affect something in your future or respect
Right.
or like affect your other multiverse. I really like that concept,
I
other
love
than
I love
like
those
the whole like
movies.
event type of things, yeah, or the
Yeah.
canon event type of things. Yeah, I
I
liked
love
that
those
concept better.
movies. I love those movies that have like the full scientific explanation for certain things, but also
Yes,
have a full overarching story that actually comprehends and makes sense. Like it's about a woman who realizes, what her life could be, but she still chooses what her life is because that is important to her. And I'm like, God, that's some genius ass right there.
yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I won't get into the big twist because
Right,
the
right.
big twist is amazing. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's good. And then as far as the movie that I saw in theaters that I haven't mentioned, but it's probably going to live rent free in my head for the rest of the year. But
Yeah.
Priscilla, which is
Ooh.
Priscilla Presley's biopic, and it is so good.
Oh,
And it talks about, and a lot of people are like, why do we need another Elvis movie? I'm like, okay, first of all, it's not an Elvis movie, it's Priscilla Presley. It
it's a
focuses
Priscilla
on
movie.
her. It's a Priscilla movie, which is why it's called Priscilla, not Elvis. But anyway, it's really good. It talks about the start of their relationship. By the way, she was 14 years old and he was 24. They make that really clear in the movie.
It was a different time period at the time.
But
Unfortunately.
still, like people were even like, yo, what is this 24-year-old who's been in the military looking out 14-year-old for? Like what? So it talks about that, and actually like it's based off of Priscilla Presley's autobiography and that she wrote, I think in the 80s, I want to say, but it's called Elvis and Me. And so yeah, this story has been out. It's not like oh, we're gonna expose Elvis. Like, no, it's only exposing Elvis in the cinematic sense. But no, this has been a thing. This has been knowledge for decades now. Like, be for real, people.
Everybody
But
doesn't
it is,
realize how terrible Elvis is.
people don't, and that's the thing. Like, I think this is a really good companion piece with the Elvis movie that came out last year. Because like the part where they do talk about Priscilla and him meeting Priscilla in the Elvis movie, they're like, oh, and he met the 14-year-old colonel's daughter, and they like brush through it. It's like, like he was a
That
grown
10-year
ass
age gap is
man.
so weird.
It was
That
so
10-year
weird. So they
age
talk,
gap.
yeah, it was a 10-year age gap, and it's just like, dude. And they definitely they talk about, yeah, their relationship briefly and how like it ended in the Elvis movie, but they don't really talk about things from Priscilla's perspective. And mind you, this movie is from Priscilla's perspective,
So,
and
so
it
it just tells her side of the story and everything.
it tells it tells her side of the story, and it's very introspective. The director of it is Sofia Coppola, who has done amazing movies. She did Marie Antoinette. She's done The Virgin Suicide. She did what's another one? Lost in Translation. Amazing director,
Oh
extremely
yeah,
talented.
yeah.
Um,
A
and the
movie, a
movie
movie, yeah, a movie that I wanted to see in theaters. I never got a chance to. Cocaine Bear.
I saw it. I didn't see it in theaters, and it disappointed me.
Okay. It came out on me and my girlfriend's 1 year anniversary, so we were like, we're gonna skip that. And then just
Oh
never
my
got
god!
back to it. It's on Amazon, and I might watch it, but nah, I know it's gonna
Mm.
disappoint me. I feel like
Oh,
that's
it's
one of
so
those.
disappointing.
I feel like that's one of those movies that would be better if there was an audience watching it with you, because that's the same thing with the FNAF movie. Like it was all
Hmm.
right for me, watching it at home, but I feel like if we were in the audience with some other people and like that knew the lore of FNAF and that knew who Matt Pat was and Corey X Kenshin and all of that
Hmm.
stuff, I feel like people would like it would we would have had a funnier experience there. Kind of like it
Exactly.
was with Megan, you know,
Hmm. Oh yeah,
Megan.
that was a perfect movie to watch in theaters. It's so
Right.
funny.
It's like you just know, like once you see her dancing, everybody's gonna be like, she's doing a thing, and like
Yeah.
just like all the funny bits of that movie, and yeah, it's funny. It's the same
Yeah,
thing, and I know this is like a 5-year-old movie now, but like the
Mhm.
same thing with Avengers Endgame. That movie
Yeah.
was a perfect movie to watch in theaters, and I didn't watch it
Hmm.
in theaters because I was in high school, didn't have a chance to watch that. But still, like that movie was perfect to watch in theaters to get with people.
Yeah, it's definitely really a good one. Like that's the thing. Like, yeah, Megan was really great at watching theaters. Guardians was great to watch in theaters too. Yeah, there's just a lot of really good ones. Also too, I guess honorable mention. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite movies, but Super Mario Bros. That was a fun
Oh
movie
yeah,
to watch too.
kind of forgot that movie
Uh,
came out this year.
yeah, exactly. It was so funny. A lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, it's the highest grossing film of the year!" Blah blah blah. And they're like, no one talks about it right now after Barbie.
Yeah, right. Once Barbie came out, they were like, "Well, that was we spoke too soon." Because I gotta say, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, I enjoyed it. It was like it was I don't know, because Chris Pratt to me is kind of a sleazeball, and like I'm just like, all right, he's good as Mario. You got that nice song by Bowser that came out that topped over his
Yes,
slogan. Uh,
yes.
but like, I
Peaches,
mean,
peaches,
like,
peaches.
yeah,
Jack
Peaches,
Black is
Peaches, Peaches,
amazing.
Peaches, Peaches. I'm just like, all right, I get it. It got annoying after a while, but like, yeah, Jack Black was perfect for Bowser.
Oh yes,
Another animated movie that I did enjoy, TMNT Mutant Mayhem.
I missed that one, and I need to watch it. Yeah, I don't know. Is it
That's
on streaming now?
I think
Probably on
it's on
Paramount
Paramount.
then.
I think it's on
Yeah.
Paramount. It should be on
Mhm.
Paramount. But nah, Mutant Mayhem, because me and my friend, we're huge TMNT fans.
Mhm.
And especially like Michelangelo and like Leonardo are my two favorites. Um, but like, it shows it doesn't just show the boys being, the fun, wacky, crazy like kids that they are, but it also
Mhm.
shows off modern New York and how crazy cool like a lot of the people are. And there's of course that scene where they're acting like New Yorkers, like going, "Yeah, we outside. Yeah, I need my
Yeah.
bacon and cheese. I need my bacon and cheese. I got my puff and my Tims." But like, it it shows off like that side of New York where it's like, the harmony and like all the people, how cool people think that stuff that's out of the ordinary is. It's fun to be
Mhm.
extraordinary. It's fun to be not normal and all that stuff. And
Mhm.
I'm not gonna of course I'm not gonna spoil anything, but yeah, no, it's the villains. Oh my goodness, the villains. The stacked cast on the villains was nuts. Ice Cube, John Cena, freaking I think it was Andy Sandberg, like just so many actors. It's just God, it's so good. It's so
That's
good.
amazing. That's amazing. Actually, one thing that you've mentioned, yeah, we've been blessed with a lot of stacked casts this year. And even
Yeah,
though it wasn't one of my favorite movies, but Oppenheimer had a very stacked cast that was
yeah.
so shocking.
There
And
was a
it was like
lot
a
of
lot of people,
Nickelodeon actors in that.
Nickelodeon actors, a lot of people were like, because you usually don't see that in like historical films. So a lot of people were like, is this like the MCU of biopic? Like I
Next thing
felt
we're gonna
like
get. Next thing you know, we're gonna get an Albert movie, Albert
Albert,
Einstein movie.
like it was so weird. It was so like random. Like again, like Oppenheimer, it was like a good movie. It was a brilliant movie, but it was like, I'm like, is Nolan trying to do like, because it was like weird. It was not only like cameos as far as actors,
Yeah,
but it was like historical figure cameos. So
yeah.
people were like, "Oh shoot, it's they're
If we're
talking
being
Albert
honest here,
Einstein."
if we're being
Oh,
honest here, it's both.
Eisenhower.
If,
Like, it's like they make a JFK reference, like, oh,
if we're being honest here, both Barbenheimer movie, both of them actors either wanted to be in Barbie or Oppenheimer. You didn't have any other option.
yes,
It was like I was like, okay, why is Gravik here? Why is like what is happening? Why is Shang-Chi here? What is happening? There were so many
it
MCU
really felt
actors
like
in Barbie.
felt like that. It was like, okay, either everyone wanted to be in Barbie, Oppenheimer, or Spider-Verse.
Right, right. Oh my God, I forgot Lisa
overlap?
Ray, Oscar Isaac, Daniel Kaluuya. Like everybody was in Across the Spider-Verse. Oh man, yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, or Mario, Chris
Or
Pratt.
Mario.
Yeah, Chris Pratt. Well, what was her name from who played Princess Peach?
Joy.
Huh?
Joy. Taylor Joy.
Yeah, Taylor. Yeah.
Anya Taylor Joy.
No, you kept cutting out. I was like, yeah, she's in that movie too. Those four movies that everybody wanted to be in. Intergalactic didn't come out this year. It was last year, right?
Yeah, it was last year.
We've been wanting to make a review on that for a year now. So, but too, that had a stacked cast of rappers. If you ever noticed, and also Timothy Chalamet, but that was another thing. Like that had.
Oh boy! So I'm guessing you're not going to see Wonka.
Yeah, I might give it a shot. I don't want another Willy Wonka movie. I'm sorry, I don't.
Either I don't either.
After Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it kind of just like bogged me down.
Yeah, honestly, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is one of my favorite movies. I did like how Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, though, side tangent, was truer to the book because I did read the book as a kid. So, like me reading the book as a kid and then watching the movie, I'm like, ah! But like,
didn't the kids die in that book?
They didn't die in the book. Yeah. So the same ending in the movie is the same ending as the book. So yeah, you see them like out of the factory. It's more ambiguous in the original movie, or not the original movie, but the Gene Wilder movie. So that's actually kind of what I like because it's almost like a quasi horror film. By the way, people need to do that. They need to do that, like what they're trying to do with what's that? What they did with Blood and Honey, like that. Winnie the Pooh.
Oh my God, I forgot about that movie. And it's weird because it keeps showing up on my Instagram and like TikTok and stuff like that. And I keep scrolling by and I'm like, the fuck is this? It's just like, why?
It's better than you think it's gonna be. It's not great, but it is better. Like there's some really good kills in that. And we talked about Michael Myers, and Winnie the Pooh was basically Michael Myers in this movie.
Of course. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off here.
Yeah, no problem. I'm done. I'm done so far.
2 hours, but this was a very satisfying video for me. Thank you so much, Meagan. I appreciate you talking with me. If you got any projects that you're coming up with later, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so yeah, just still follow me on Instagram and also on TikTok at Meagan's World. That's MEAGANZ World. And yeah, I might have a project coming up soon, but I don't want to I'm still under works. I'm still trying to expand my internet presence. So I'll just put it that way. But yeah, follow me for updates on that at Meagan's World. But yeah, I'm still doing my reviews. I'll have more reviews coming out now that the strikes are over. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I was actually happy about that because I saw that. I was like, no way the strikes are over. Get out of here. And I put that on my story immediately.
There is a rumor that they weren't going to end until next year. I'm like, oh my God.
But yeah, no, if there's any cameos or anything that you want me to do in like a film or something, you already know who to call. Projects I've got coming out, there's going to be stuff with Journey. Don't worry. There's going to be stuff with Terry. We might make a couple more videos one of these days. I'll let you know. Jupiter, my new album coming out soon. I've been working on that for the longest time, rewriting, re-recording, doing a whole bunch of other stuff, fixing it up. Just got one more song that we're finishing, and I got to do some polishing on that. But other than that, maybe later November or early December, that album will be coming out. I will let everybody know in my comments. But other than that, I got other games that I'm playing. I just downloaded Gotham Knights, so I might play that on the channel. I don't know. Mortal Kombat 1 is definitely going to be played on the channel, and Spider-Man 2 is also going to be continuing. And then Uncharted 2 is just somewhere deep down the line somewhere. But other than that, Megan, if you want to do your outro, go on ahead.
Oh, bye, y'all. Oh yeah, you do like a different language. Audio.
And I want to say fine. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, lightly tap that like button in the face and press that subscribe button. I'll see all you humans, animals, plants, aliens, machines, and anything else in between in the next video. Au revoir. It was so good talking to you, Megan.
Great talking to you too.
And now I've got to edit, so yeah.
That's Yay! Hopefully fourth time's a charm, or third time, whatever time this is. Yeah, but the Zoom recording should be fine.
I'm not downloading a movie. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to be putting up a bunch of pictures. That's it.
Perfect.